Come on and give him glory. If you can't stop praising his name, rest on your feet all over the building. Come on, come on. Put your hands together. Come on, come on, come on. Praising his name, I just can't stop. Praising his name, I just can't stop. Praising his name, Jesus. Can't stop. Praising his name, I just can't stop. Praising his name, I just can't stop. Praising his name, Jesus. Can't stop. Praising his name, I just can't stop. Praising his name, I just can't stop. Praising his name, Jesus. 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 Hallelujah, Jesus. Praise his holy name. Jesus. Hallelujah, Jesus. Praise his holy name. Can't stop. Come on, somebody give him glory. Give him glory. Can't stop praising his name. Touch a neighbor and say, can't stop, can't stop. Won't stop, won't stop. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. If you have your Bibles, go to Joshua, the first chapter. A couple of things, and then we will give you all the word of God. Good to see you all on the first Sunday of May. Somebody say amen. Amen. Truly the Lord is in the blessing business, and we're grateful for that. A couple of things I want to lift for you all. On yesterday, here at our church, we were able to be there for mother and her whole family. Then you heard about the young man that was killed in Edmond by the police, shot, tased, and then shot. His funeral was here yesterday, and it was wall-to-wall people, young people. And I try to tell people all the time, that is what the church is designed for. And that is to be there for people at their most difficult hour. Over 250 kids here yesterday. I thank God for the Bowles, Ronnie, for ushers, and others that came to help us serve the multitude. It was overflow. The news was here down the street. It was, and anytime something like that, something tragic like that happens, we're in the role of a priest and prophet. So y'all feel me? Our priestly role is to care for people. Our prophetic role is to call things as they are. Somebody say amen. So yesterday, the church was priest and prophet. The preacher on yesterday, actually the gentleman that died, Isaiah, is Derek, our organist's cousin. And we were able to host the family and everybody. His uncle did the eulogy yesterday. Absolutely powerful eulogy. Because many of those young people were confused. They were hurting. They didn't understand what was going on. How their classmate one day was in class with them, and the next day he's dead. And so the preacher on yesterday made it very clear in his sermon, which was powerful, that we weren't there to celebrate yesterday. He said it. We should not even be here. We're over 17 years old. We shouldn't even be here. Don't want to be here. And so he was prophetic in nature, and I appreciated him saying that. So we give God praise for all those who are here. I tell people that's why we're here, y'all, is that we have to be the light that's on the hill. Somebody say amen. Better than that, say amen. So while we were doing that, one of our own members was hosting a conference trying to empower young black boys, young black men, to be black men, Brother Steve Davis held his Making Amend conference on yesterday. Give God praise for Brother Steve. Amen. Amen. So listen. If everybody does their part, somebody say amen. Amen. We can help a generation. I said today, third service, there are people that have thrown that generation away. The devil's a liar, y'all. We're not giving up on the generation of kids. Amen. Somebody say amen and give them praise right there. We're not giving up. And so it was good for us to be here on yesterday, to be there for that family, to strengthen them and encourage them in their darkest hour. Somebody say amen. Have your Bibles go to Joshua, the first chapter. Joshua, the first chapter. Amen. Thank God for y'all wearing purple. Stroke Awareness Month. Amen. Thank you for my woke people. Amen. Amen. If you may have another color on, just say it's a different kind of purple. Amen. Somebody say amen. It's a different kind of purple. Pastor Coleman, you just don't see it. Amen. It is Stroke Awareness Month, and we want to bring awareness that the strokes affect African Americans at a higher proportionate rate than any other ethnicity. We want to make sure that we bring awareness to that. Say amen. Amen. Joshua, the first chapter. Last week I told y'all that your wounds were your witness. Y'all remember that? Your wounds are your witness. So let me give you this on today. Joshua, the first chapter, starting at verse number 1. It says, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, Moses, my servant, is what, y'all? Shouted is what? Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I'm giving to them, the children of Israel. Here it is. Here's your verse. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I've given it to you, as I told to Moses. Let me read that again. Some of y'all ought to be getting that for your family, for your children, your grandchildren. I can't get nobody in here. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that I have given unto you, as I said unto Moses. For a few minutes, I want to talk from the subject, walk like you going somewhere. Somebody shout, walk like you going somewhere. Somebody say amen. The other day, in Bible study, many of you will get this next week, when I recognize him. We outside of the Sunday for Graduate Sunday, but I will give it to you on next week. This one of our members was facing his final chapter of his dissertation program. He was in the last part of his dissertation program. The other day, one of our members was on his way to defend his dissertation, and he sent a text to me to pray for him. He's been on this journey for some years now. Those of you in Bible study on Wednesday night know who I'm referring to. He has been on the journey for some years now to acquire his PhD, and he finally reached the place. He got to the end and was ready to defend his dissertation. So he reached out and texted me and asked me, would I pray for him? Somebody say yes. So I sent a prayer text back to him and closed with these words. When you go into the room and get ready to face examination, walk as if you got 1,000 ancestors walking behind you. I sent that phrase specifically to him because I believe that in that moment, he needed to be reassured that not only was God going to be with him, but he also needed to walk in such a manner in a particular room as if he had 1,000 of the ancestors walking behind him. Say behind him. I gave that to him because I believe that even after all the work had been done, he still needed to walk in a manner that he could call himself doctor before anybody else had to call him doctor. Somebody say yes. He needed a faith boost, and I was prompted by the Holy Spirit to give him what I believe God wanted him to have, and that was a word on how he should walk into the examination. Somebody say yes. I told him, don't walk in timid, don't walk in afraid, don't walk in doubtful, don't walk in negative, don't walk in second guessing, don't walk in questioning yourself, but walk like whatever God has promised you is already yours. Somebody say yours. Well, to give you the hope of the story, this young man ended up passing, earning the deserved title PhD. Somebody say amen. Share that with you because I believe that this short story can serve as a lesson for you and I as to how we as the children of the Most High God ought to walk each and every day of our lives. Somebody say every day. The testimony of this particular young man could serve as a blueprint for us on how we ought to walk every day. Say every day. I can't hear nobody say every day. See, it's one thing to come to this beautiful church and lift up praise and worship on Sunday morning. It's one thing to enter the sanctuary and sing praises unto God. But the heart and soul of your faith is not on Sunday morning. It's Monday through Saturday. Say yes, y'all. The source and substance of who you are as a believer is not limited to Sunday morning. The truth is, you got to ask yourself the question, how is my walk Monday through Saturday? Say yes, y'all. When you rise out of bed and place your foot on the floor, how you walking? Now, of course, I'm not talking about your physical ability. I'm talking about your spiritual disposition. What does your walk say about you? Somebody say yes. All of us in here have a walk. Somebody say walk. By that I mean a certain attitude, yes, a certain disposition, a certain mindset, a certain outlook and approach when it comes to your life. All of us have a certain way of looking at life and God each and every day. Say every day. How you walk in your life will determine the quality of your life. How you walk in your life will serve as a precursor for what your life will look like. Somebody say yes. My mother used to tell me when I was young, and she knew that I was headed out into the world, and the world might test my faith. It might test my cultural acuity. It might test who I am as a man, not only as a Christian, but as a black man. It would test me. She knew it would test me, and here is what she would say to me. You ought to walk like you going somewhere. If you're going to represent this house, you ought to walk with the right attitude, with the right disposition, with the right spirit. You ought to walk like you're going somewhere. Now, I knew what she was trying to do, and that was to shift my attitude, shift my disposition, and act like what was in me was greater than what was out of me. She was telling me this as an African-American mother could tell her son. Don't walk around here defeated. Don't walk around dismayed. Don't walk around disbelieving. Don't walk around fearful. Don't walk around fretful. Don't walk around foolish. Don't walk around pessimistic. Don't walk around problematic. And definitely don't walk around powerless. Don't you know who you are? You're a child of the Most High God. Can I get 20 people in here that can testify that you're a child of the Most High God? Give them glory right now. Somebody say walk like it. I can't hear nobody say walk like it. Beloved, whether you know it or not, God is concerned about how we walk. Somebody say walk like it. God cares about how you walk. Say walk like it. The Bible proves it, y'all. When God calls Abraham, he tells him, walk in the land that God promised you, believing is yours. When he calls Joseph, he tells Joseph, go ahead and walk in the face of your brothers that betrayed you. When he calls David, he says, David, you got to walk in the valley of the shadow of death. When he calls Esther, he says, you got to walk in the presence of the king, knowing God is going to show you favor. Over and over again, God called men and women to develop a disposition that demanded that they believe in God, and God was on their side. Over and over again, the Bible God calls on people. Don't hide, don't run, don't be negative, don't doubt. Rather walk and believe that whatever God promised you, it shall come to pass. Say yes, y'all. I wonder, is there anybody in Fifth Street in here that has faith enough to reach up to heaven and declare that whatever God promised me, my family, my children, my children's children, I will receive it in the name of Jesus. I wonder, can I find 50 people that can thank God right now? Because you know God got some promises with your name on it. He didn't redeem you for nothing. He didn't rescue you for nothing. He didn't revive you for nothing. You can't be negative, pessimistic. You got to act like everything that God wants for you, you're going to receive. Can I get somebody in the house to give them glory? Slap your neighbor, say act like it, act like it. Slap back and say walk like it, walk like it. Watch this. Are y'all with me? Say yes. Please don't waste my time. Say yes, y'all. God did not send his son to die on the cross, to raise from the dead, for you to speak in the language of the bleak, the blind, and the bewildered. Jesus said in the book, I've come that you might have life. Woo! And have it more. Jesus said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can speak to the mountain, and the mountain has to move. Jesus said, greater works than these shall you do. Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things shall be. Y'all know some Bible in here. Jesus said, Whatever you pray and ask for, believe you've received it, and it shall be yours. Here's my question. Come here. If the one you follow gave us these words, then your walk ought to match what he said. Y'all just missed a sermon in here. If he said it, if the book say you the head and not the tail, why you wagging everybody around? If the book say you're a lender and not a borrower, why you asking folk for help when you know you are the help? Is there anybody here that knows you the head and not the tail? You above and not beneath. Come on, you're a lender, not a borrower. You blessed in the city. I wish I had 40 people at 11 o'clock, 10:30 service pass that would jump up right now. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. Yeah, I'm blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed going out, blessed. I can't get no folk to jump up on that. You're blessed every time you turn around. Jump up on your cute feet and give them glory if you know that you know that you know that you know that you know you're blessed. Slap your neighbor and say, that's right about it. I'm right about it. Are y'all with me? Hey, come here. Come here. Because I got to do work on my people. There is no excuse for you to walk around defeated. There is no excuse for you to be as negative as you are. There is no excuse to walk around speaking that things are impossible. Jesus rose up on a blind man in the 9th chapter of John. The man is blind. Jesus spits in the ground, makes some mud, puts it on the man's eyes, and he says this, y'all gonna miss it if you're not careful. He said, go wash in the pool of Siloam. Now, if you understand who Jesus really is, he could have just healed that man right there. But sometimes Jesus, even God, has you to participate in your own liberation. Y'all ain't helping me in here. Sometimes it's not a matter of God giving it to you. He wants you to walk and act like you're gonna get it. Is there anybody here that's willing to walk and go get everything that God has for you? Watch this. Without the right disposition, feel me, you will not get the promises of God. If you don't have the right disposition, you won't possess what God has promised. Therein is the lesson of the text this morning. I'm not going to keep you. It's a beautiful day outside. This is the generation that would cross over into the land that was promised. I need y'all to turn it on right now. This generation will be the generation that will receive what God promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This generation will be the generation that would drink and eat in the land flowing with milk and honey. God, knowing who they were, knew they needed a shift in their disposition. Go on, do it, Coleman. See, their ancestors were slaves in Egypt. They had some kinfolk who were wanderers in the wilderness. So God had to give them a different mentality than the previous generation. Their previous kinfolk were slaves. The generation ahead of them were wanderers, but now they could not be that. So God had to give them a warrior mentality. Let me go and do it in here. These folk were going to have to fight for what God promised. Let me do my work right now. I don't know where we got it, y'all. Big Mama and them did not suffer for us to be entitled. I can't do it. They're going to get quiet on me, Key. Our ancestors did not go through what they went through for us to act like we ain't got to go through nothing to get what God, where they do that at. If you want something, God said there's a chapter in the book where you're going to have to fight for it. All that sitting by, waiting for stuff to happen for you, depending on everybody else to do it for you, waiting on the government to come through, waiting on the school to do it for you. Where I can't find 3 people at 5th Street today. It's time out depending on other people. You better get a warrior mentality and do it for yourself. I'll bless myself. I'll lift myself. Is there anybody that could jump up right now and say, I'll do it all by my... Watch this. The promise is not lesser because you have to fight for it. Go on, Coleman. Just because God promised it don't mean you're not going to have to fight for it. This generation of Israelites was going to have to pick their foot up, place it in front of them, and believe, y'all going to miss a good sermon, that whatever God promised you is already yours. Here's the scene. It's a transitional moment for Joshua. Come here. Joshua standing over Moses' grave. He's weeping for Moses. He's lamenting for Moses. And God, being who he is, points out the obvious to Joshua because he stayed over the grave 1 second too long. He says, Moses, my servant is dead. Duh. Why would God say that to him? Because that leads me to my first point. That in order for you to walk into the promise God has for you, your children, and people thereafter, some stuff you're going to have to bury. Oh, okay. Y'all going to miss it. God performs a eulogy for Joshua. See, God could not have the children of Israel walking into new territory, grieving the loss of their leader. Moses was for a season, and when the season was over, they still had to keep walking to the promise. The promise was not Moses, the promise was the land. Sometimes when people have run their season, you need to put them behind you and pronounce a benediction over the relationship. Y'all ain't hear that? That don't mean they weren't important to you. That don't mean they didn't help you. But the assignment is bigger than the person connected to you. And sometimes God will have you reconcile some stuff as dead in order for you to move into the next chapter of your life. Is there anybody in here that's ever had to bury a relationship, that's had to bury some doubts, bury some fears, bury some anxieties? I just need some folk to jump up in here that's ever had to perform a funeral and say, you were good for a season, but I'm in the next chapter of my life. Somebody give them glory. Slap your neighbor and say, he on my street, he on my street. How many times have you kept yourself from claiming for what God has for you because you held on to something or someone too long? Somebody shout, I know that's right. How many blessings have you missed because you're so focused on the person and not focused on God's plan? Can I help you? Can I help you? Somebody say, help me, Pastor. People come and people go. Y'all miss what I said. People come and people go. But God's plans are eternal. And so you need to learn how to love them. But when it's time for them to leave, they need to leave. Is there anybody in here that's ever shouted over somebody exiting your life just like they entered your life? I need 30 to jump up now. If you've ever had some folk never call you back, you're not bothering me. You're not bothering me. It's all right. I know I ain't talked to you in a while. That's all right, baby. I've been doing all right without you. Is there anybody in here that can give God glory? The book say this. Paul said, forgetting those things that are behind me, I press. Everybody say, I press. Y'all ain't shouting. They say, I press. I need some folk to testify. Pastor Coleman, I need to leave some doubts behind, some fears behind, some anxieties behind, some worries behind, some negativity behind, some anger behind, some bitterness behind, some pessimism behind. Somebody shall bury it, bury it, bury it. All the folk, listen, you ever had somebody stay too long? Nudge your neighbor, say, he ain't talking about you. You ever had somebody stay too long and you trying to get them a hint, it's time to get out? I got to get up early in the morning to go to work. Somebody shout yes. You need to start yawning over your doubt and yawning over your depression and yawning over your anxiety and say, that's it, you stayed long enough. I'm determined to get everything that God has for my life. Can I get 20 people to jump up now and give them glory? Because I'm going to get walk like you're going to leave some stuff behind. Sometimes we missing opportunities because we've been carrying some stuff into new territory. And you need to let some stuff go. Just touch your neighbor softly and say, let it go. I think I better let it go. Don't do it, Derek. Here we go. Don't do it. Don't do it. I got carnal folk in here. I got this Fifth Street. Watch yourself. I hate y'all so bad. God tells Joshua, Moses, my servant, is dead. Let me see if y'all get this. He says, he lives. This is for the people who really want it. If you don't want it, make your grocery list out, tweet, whatever. He says, every place that the sole of your foot treads upon, I've given it to you. Ah! Somebody say, what that look like? Once you've left some things behind, that's one way you walk. But the next way you walk, this was God telling Joshua, y'all better get this. Walk like what you have been through made you stronger and not weaker. Shut up. Now understand the text, y'all. These folk had been in the wilderness. They had some battles. They had internal conflict. They had relatives die off. They had rebellion. They had starvation. These folk had went through hell. But God said, before you get in that land, you need to say to yourself, all that mess that we went through, I can't dismiss it because it made me stronger and not weaker. I'm preaching harder than y'all talking to me. In other words, don't walk into your new blessing timid, broke down, beaten, with yourself all broken over. You ought to look like you're stronger because of the hell that you've been through. I wish I had some folk in here that could take a drive down memory lane and recall everything that you've been through and say to yourself, I'm not weaker, I'm stronger because of it. I've been broken, I'm stronger. I've been broken and I'm stronger. I've been hurt and I'm stronger. I had my heart broken and I'm stronger. I need 50 people in Fifth Street to jump up and you can say, I'm stronger now. I'm better now. I'm wiser. Wait a minute. Is there anybody in here that had something happen in your past and you can look back on it and send a thank you note to it? Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. You need to send a thank you note to the days you were broke. A thank you note to the days you were broken. A thank you note to when you were crying yourself to sleep. A thank you note when you felt like giving up. Because if it wasn't for that mess, you wouldn't be where you are right now. So I need some folks to jump up and give them a 30-second praise. You had to go broke. You had to call it quits. You had to throw in the... Is there anybody in here that can shout right now? High five 3 people, tell them it had to happen. It had to happen. It had to happen. It had to happen. I know you don't understand it, but my shout ain't for you. My shout is it should have killed me. It should have killed me. It should have made me kill. But it made me stronger. Is there anybody that could give them? Just look at somebody and say, I'm stronger now. I'm strong. I'm stronger now. I should be dead. I should be in the crazy house. I should have thrown in the towel. I should have slit my wrist. I should have hung myself. But when I look back over my life, I can thank God for everything. Can you give him glory and shout Walk. I said walk. Like what you've been through made you stronger and not weaker. Come on, y'all talk to me in here. Because some of us in here walking around with our head down as if you're not a child of the promise. The devil is a liar. Everything that you've been through was a setup to get to where you are. Can you take 30 seconds and give God a shout? Thank you, I was broke. I need you, everybody, to stand up. Thank you, I was broke. Thank you that the relationship didn't work. Thank you that I didn't quit. Thank you that I didn't give up. Somebody throw your hands up and tell. Go ahead. ahead and praise him. You know you should be crazy now. You should be in the cemetery now. But somebody shout! That's it. Slap a neighbor and say, God can do it. God can do it. Sit down. I ain't done. I ain't done. Y'all excuse us. Some of us can look back over our life and we know where we should be. But his grace and his mercy. All right, all right. Woo! Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Woo! 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 Sit down. Forgive us. Forgive us. Forgive us. All of us didn't have an easy street, but some of us were produced in pain. That's it. That's it. That's it. All right, here we go. Somebody say, walk like it. Let me get it close. Walk like you're willing to leave some stuff behind. Somebody say, leave it behind. Come on, say, leave it behind. Shout it, y'all. Say, leave it behind. No, y'all playing with y'all pastor today. Say, leave it behind. You'll never get to your promise if you're not going to leave some stuff behind. Number two, walk. Everybody say, walk. Watch this. Everything that you have been through made you stronger and not weaker. Stop dismissing the pain of your yesterday. Your pain got you to where you are. Last point. Maybe they didn't get the first two, Darlene, but they're going to get this third one. Everybody say, walk. This going to kill a house. Y'all going to get this and y'all going to run with this for the rest of this week and this month. You have to walk every day like you serve a limitless God. Don't miss this point, y'all. God had to instruct Joshua to instruct the folk that God was not contained, restrained, minuscule when it came to his ability to bless them. God was infinite, all-powerful, all-knowing, and more than capable. Come here, come here. Just because you can't doesn't mean that God can't. There are no limits restricting God. The people and their ancestors minimized God. They made God small. But here is God telling Joshua, look at me, hey, look at me. I am so big that when you pick your foot up, before you put it down, I've already transferred it into your name. Now, y'all, somebody about to run up in here. I don't know where you are, but God is trying to tell me to tell you, stop acting like where you walk don't matter. God says, if I put you there, it belongs to you. The next time you walk in your child's school, the next time you walk on that job, the next time you walk in that house, pick your foot up. And before you put it down, say to yourself, that's mine. Can I get 50 people in here that can jump up and shout, it's mine? I'm taking my peace back. I'm taking my joy back. I'm taking my power back. I'm taking my happiness back. I'm taking it. Is there anybody that can shout, I'm taking it back? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Because watch this, Francie, watch this. When we say we can't, when we say it won't happen, when we say it's impossible, watch this. God is in heaven laughing at us. The minute you say something won't happen, God is in heaven laughing, because in his mind he's saying they must not know who I am. Huh? Go ahead and say it's impossible. Go ahead and say it won't happen. Sometimes God is waiting for you to say it just so he can show up and do the impossible. Watch this. Anybody in here ever had God have to show up to prove to you that even after every door was closed, even after every rejection came, even after they told you no in your face, God showed up? I need 50 folks to jump up now. If God can do anything, if God can do anything, if God can do anything, go ahead and shout about it. He can do anything. I said he can do anything. Give him praise if he can do anything. Now I need you to witness to 3 people. High five 3 people, say anything, anything, anything. Jump on your feet and say anything. He can heal the sick. He can raise the dead. He can give you power. He can give you joy. He can give you a promotion. He can give you a new house. He can give you a new job. He can help you open a business. He can do anything. I wish I had 50 people in here that could jump up and shout anything. If your God can do anything, then give him glory. In fact, lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall shout anything. I need the house to give him glory and shout anything. Jump on your feet and shout anything. It is. Keep standing. Look at me, man. You serve a limitless God. Look at me. Hey, look at me. Stop hanging around people that put limitations on God. Do y'all hear me? When is the last time you ran into something that God can't do? God told the children of Israel, y'all know how big I am? Test me, pick your feet up. Before you put it back down, it's already yours. Somebody shout, it's mine. Stop having power be a distant memory. Walk like you're going somewhere, man. Walk like God wants you to have all that he's promised. It's never whether God can do it. It is always whether you believe big enough for him to do it. There's one line I said in the sermon. I gave it to them this morning. It was a great, great line. I got to give it to you. God is so big, he can go back to your past and fix whatever's in your past, while at the same time going into your future, setting up your future, then going into your present to prepare you for where he's taking you. Wait a minute, y'all just missed it. God is working in all levels of your life, your past, your present, and your future. So here's what he said, walk like it. Don't just be a Sunday morning Christian. We got enough of them. They'll do nothing. Don't do nothing. You saved only on Sunday. You believe when it's church, but your faith ain't in church. You better walk every day, Monday through Saturday. Take the limits off of God and believe God for the impossible. Somebody told me if you're sick, he's a healer. Maybe y'all don't know that. I know y'all play church. Some of y'all play church. But I read somewhere that if you're sick, he's a healer. I read somewhere that if you're in trouble, he's a lawyer in a courtroom. Read it somewhere. Come on. Right? God is telling the children of Israel, it's ownership time. Stop borrowing from other people and trust me. I can't get no help from Because as long as you have a renting mentality, you'll never get what God wants you to have. Every place you walk is yours. Did y'all hear that? Every place. Did a big dedication yesterday afternoon, late in the day, after the funeral. A couple comes up and starts telling me the situation that they're having at the school with their child. The principal is acting super just racist, just the teacher is acting just racist. And so they were actually, I love that they were actually looking for what to say to the teacher. Or looking for what to do. And I said to him, wait. You asked the wrong word, first of all. I said, first of all, you don't owe nobody nothing. You don't owe nobody nothing. If something needs to be said, say it. Right? Don't walk in a place and be timid because they're going to take advantage of you. The devil is looking for that because he's going to capitalize on your timidity. But if you walk in that place knowing who you are, knowing whose you are, knowing that I'm here to protect my child, and this school is not your school, it's my school. I can't find nobody in the house. You have to walk with authority like you going somewhere. That's what God was telling the children of Israel. So here it is. Pick your foot up. Put it down. It's already yours. Somebody give them praise right there. Look at your neighbor and say, walk like you're going somewhere. Rest on your feet all over the building. Give them praise all over the house. Walk like you're going somewhere. Every head bowed. Let me walk like you're going somewhere. Did y'all get that? Walk like you going somewhere. Do it again. Walk like you going somewhere. I'm walking in authority. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in favor. I'm walking in every promise that God has for me, for my family. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Slip your hands in the glory.
Not going back, I'm moving ahead. I'm here to declare to you, the past is over in you. All things are made new. Surrender my life to Christ. I'm moving forward.
Slip your hands in the glory for just 2 minutes.
Doors
of the church are open if you're here.
Not going back. I'm moving ahead. I'm here to declare to you, my past is over in you. All things are made new. Surrender my life to Christ. I'm moving forward. I'm not going back, I'm moving ahead. I'm here to declare to you, my past is over in you. All things are made new. Surrender my life to Christ. I'm moving forward.
Come on, slip your hands in the glory. Doors of the church are open. If you're here, come on. Come on.
'Cause you make all things new.
Come on, everybody.
Yes, you make all things new.
Somebody give God praise. Come on, sister. Come on, give God praise. Fifth Street. Give God praise, Fifth Street. Come on, come on, come on.
You make
Come on, if you're here, come on.
Yes, you make all things new. And I will follow you forward.
I need you to lift one hand in the air. Come on, y'all. You
make all things new.
Yeah. One more time, every head bowed. If you're here and you don't have a church home, I want you to come right now. Don't wait till next week. Don't wait till next month. Come right now. Come on. No need to wait. No need to put it on pause. God has purpose with your name on it. He's got a plan with your name on it, but you got to trust him. You got to trust him. If you're here, come on. Come on.